Hey guys, Diz Life Mark here, and I want to tell you all about the official travel partner here at Chip & Company. Let our good friend Sarah at Destination to Travel help you plan your next Disney vacation. Sarah specializes in planning dream vacations for your family. She's an authorized Disney vacation planner, and she can help with every step of your magical vacation. The best thing is that her services are 100% free. Want to travel beyond Disney? Sarah has you covered there too. Want to find out more? Fill out a trip request form over at the website at Chip & Co. or email her directly at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com. What are you waiting for? Start planning that dream vacation today. Email her at sarahsolberg@d2travel.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Greetings, program.
Amigos down there. It is me up here.
Howdy, folks. Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times.
Nice work, pal.
Well, we have one of those new talking machines. Now that is something.
We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Diz Life Podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of our Disney lives here on the Chip & Company Podcast Network. My name is Mark Valentine, and I am the host of Diz Life Podcast. Join us weekly as we discuss the very best of Disney parks, resorts, dining, and beyond. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to access more incredible audio content from the Chip & Company Podcast Network. Just a reminder, head over to chipandco.com for the latest and the most uplifting headlines from across the Disney parks from around the world. We'd like to give a special shout out to the patrons of this podcast program, the members of our Patreon page, who have special access to bonus content and much more. You can support this radio program by visiting us at patreon.com/Diz Life Podcast. On today's episode, we are celebrating 40 years of Epcot as we take a stroll down memory lane and imagine the next 40 years of the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. But before we get into that, let's welcome my co-host who takes his time every single Sunday to visit Epcot and cosmically rewind with his family, the one and only Greg, the Disney fanatic. Greg, welcome back to the show, my friend. How was your weekend? Thank you for your service.
Hoy, hoy, Mark Valentine. I just got back from having a Mickey-shaped pretzel and a grapefruit beer from Germany. I feel great and wonderful. I got nothing, man.
It's like Stacey.
You know what? I got back from this 40th anniversary, and I have thoughts.
You have
many thoughts. No, listen, even with the 40th anniversary going on, I still rode Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind.
Good for you, and thank you for your service. It's like Stacey J. Aswad says, pretzels und beer. And you understand that reference because I know that you're a local, but you have also stayed in enough Disney resorts to know who Stacey is from Must Do Disney.
One must do Stacey. I mean, Disney must do Disney. Disney must do Disney. Gosh dang.
I love her. Can we get her on a show?
Can we somehow figure out how to have it? We should podcast with her. We should get her in for an interview.
I want to talk
because
to her.
I want the must do's of 2022.
Well, listen, we still continue to watch her on YouTube. So no matter what that atrocity is that's on the Disney Parks channel now, we still will watch Must Do Disney with Stacey.
You know what they do have on the channel, though? Happily Ever After plays between 6:30 and 11:30 p.m. every single night.
Well, you know what's going to be happening next year? Happily Ever After is going to be playing in front of the castle.
Oh, no. That's more than they did for Epcot.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Hot take. This is what you call, we're prepping the hot zone right now because Greg has feelings. All right. So let's get right into this, man. You had an amazing weekend, as you do every single weekend, because you're constantly living your best Disney life. I live here in Pennsylvania, so I'm watching from afar. Generally, I am the fear of missing out in this equation between the two of us. But you had a chance to visit Epcot for the 40th. You were there for the 40th celebration. You were also there for the 50th celebration for the Magic Kingdom. So let's discuss the day and what Disney rolled out to celebrate 4 decades of Epcot. So let's rip the Band-Aid off.
There's a lot to go through in 40 years.
There's a
40
lot.
years of imagination of the future. And we got
merch. You got merch. Okay, so first off, how were the lines? Let's go through this. Stay positive. Stay on target.
I am on target. I am positive, man. I am positive.
You are positive that you hated the 40.
No. And I don't want people to like get off on the wrong tangent. We are very positive Disney people.
Yes.
We
love Disney.
We constantly express our love and we want to share it with others. Hence why our episode last week, we were able to delve so deep into our feelings on this. So please go back and listen to that, guys.
Yep.
But once in a while, Disney lays an egg very hard and you have to call them out on it. I with all the excuses that we can make for it, it still was a dud. It was horrific. And all the adjectives I can use for this, I'm still a little upset by it because
flabbergasted.
We love
aghast.
Epcot. And things that could be with Epcot, we are a little flummoxed.
Bewildered. All right. So how were the crowds on Saturday?
The crowds were actually decent. We got in there right before opening at 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
Walked right through the gates. No issue getting in there. No issue with security. That was really good. They did have a D23 Gold member event. Good.
Did you do that because you are a D23 Gold member?
I did not. The tickets went on sale and then they were no longer for sale in a matter of like 5 minutes. And I understand why this was a very big event. So D23 members got to go in early and then you had the resort's guests get to go in early. So that alleviated the crowd at the front entrance.
Okay.
By the time rope drop happened, it was not anything more than normal. As you walked in, they handed you a commemorative October 1st, 2022 Epcot 40 commemorative map, which really cool looking. I love that when they do that. They did it for the 50th when you went into the Magic Kingdom. They did it for this. Hey, at least we got a map, Mark.
At least you got a map. All right. I saw the lines for the merch. Can we talk about the lines for the merch? The lines for the merch looked so long that people who waited online for a Figment popcorn bucket laughed at those other individuals. What was it that was so hot that had people waiting on that line, man? That line looked insane to me.
What is it that Wreck-It Ralph says, King Candy, our favorite king in the world, says, we've gone turbo? Is that it?
You're not going turbo, are you?
We went Figment. We went Figment popcorn bucket day on merch line. It was a constant stream. When we walked in, it was like, where's everybody go? And then they put everybody into a line. Obviously, the people who were there for D23 and resort guests, they were already in line waiting for it to open.
Say it with me, Disney. Virtual queue. Say it with me. We do it for magnets. We do it for popcorn buckets. Please stop doing this. They're needlessly having people wait in lines. Greg, is it for shock value or have they not learned their lesson?
Did they not learn after the Figment fiasco? The diabolic, it was when I got to go into line, it was over to where the bathroom is behind the wall where they're building Moana, which is across from the land. By the time I went, I'm good. It went all the way down to Living by the Seas. Living with the Seas with Nemo and Friends, wrapped back around to the land and wrapped back all the way around to where Figment was.
That's insane.
Not only that, but there was also like switchback queues halfway down the line. So you had to switch back a few times. Now, people were saying it took 45 minutes to an hour to then get into the creation shop. Most people still were saying they waited 3 to 5 hours.
That's insane. That's insane.
Okay. Now, you asked me earlier, what was the hot thing? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
There was nothing to the
special.
point?
There was nothing amazing. There was nothing. Pins? Nah, they were all generic. $150 pin? Meh, still available today. The backpack, the Loungefly? Meh, it was small. It looked generic. The shirts look great. Some of them looked amazing. Still available today. Or, I don't know, they were available on shopdisney.com. There was a few things. There was a limited edition statue that was $150 that lit up, and it was Figment below Spaceship Earth, and then the legs on Spaceship Earth lit up. Really cool. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
But again, would you wait 3 to 4 hours for any of this?
No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't. And I wouldn't have waited for the Figment popcorn bucket. We got it. You and I both got it.
In a what? What was that called? What did we do that day, Mark? A virtual queue?
We did a virtual queue, which was really organized. It was well done. There were no lines. You walked right up when they called your number and you went in. Disney needs to start doing that in anticipation of this kind of stuff.
Well, and I'm trying to stay positive here. You can hear the exasperation in my voice because I'm upset by this.
Yeah.
Because this turned into Merch Fest again. Instead of making it about the park, instead of having special characters around, instead of doing this amazing thing that they could have done. And again, we understand because pandemic, they couldn't go overboard and set up stages and have concerts and fireworks going off. You couldn't do that. Understand.
But now you can.
But to make this about merch, you literally made the whole day about merch. And what did you really make it about was about making sure that resellers and people could get in. Now, I will give Disney full credit for this. They upped the purchase limit on a lot of items to 10 of the same item or less, which means that the eBay market's going to be saturated with all this stuff. So people are going to be like, oh, I'm not making money. Why do it? Leaving I don't know. It's the first time they did it. I don't know why they did it for the 40th. But yeah, the Figment stuffed plush, pretty cute. There was a few other really cute things, but again, that took away from the whole experience of the day. Now, I had other plans for the day and made it amazing because I love Epcot. But if you were the first time you came in there and it was the 40th anniversary, you would have gone, why is there nothing? Why is everybody waiting in line? For one thing.
When everyone was waiting in line, were the rides kind of barren? Were there low wait times during that? Because it seems like that would have eaten up a lot of the crowd. Is that merch queue? That
ate up a lot of the queue. For most of the day, that ate up a lot of the queue. Now, look, I mean, Epcot's lines have been down overall. Having more rides there, Guardians was no longer than normal. Everything was about average. It was an average day in the park. Just throw in 5 times more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Like, seriously, nothing about it was bad. Like, the walkways weren't overcrowded. You could get in and out of
because everybody was waiting in line to get their white
But and not only that, let me just go back to this merch thing also. So we got in there 8:30 a.m. when rope drop happened. We went straight there. The line was already massive. By the time we left during Harmonious, the line was still there.
Oh my gosh!
And it just didn't stop all day.
Have we gone too far? Yes.
We've gone turbo.
We've gone turbo, man.
We've gone Figment.
We have gone turbo. All right. So one thing.
Let's get out of there.
Let's get out of line right now for the merch because there was something that was really cool. You had a chance to check out the new Beacons of Magic. It seems like they had the 40th celebration on Spaceship Earth. One of the things that they've done really well since they've installed those beacons of light.
Wait. Before we go there, hold on.
Sure.
One other thing I do want to mention. So Holly and I decided to have dinner in Mexico.
Oh.
And they had what they called a clarified margarita in a Mexico 40 cup that you could take home, like a souvenir cup. And it was like, oh, it says Mexico 40 on it. It's a 40th anniversary cup. Why don't we have a margarita? Mark, it was the most delicious thing I've drank.
You had the margaritas
Epcot.
and the flautas, and you must have liked the flautas because you told me best flautas ever.
That and the margarita were two of my favorite things, which led us over to going to Spaceship Earth and enjoying the show. So either A, I was starting to become inebriated and just loved it.
I think
or
that's
B,
some of it.
They did a great show.
I
so
think
go
that's
ahead.
some of it. So one of the best things they've actually done are the beacons on Spaceship Earth. So what were the songs? You had a chance to not only check this out, but it is currently up on the Chip and Company YouTube in all of its glory in full HD. But what were the songs? What was the experience like? And I got to know, where does the 40th rank with you now amongst all of the shows? So let's recap. We have Rainbow Connection, Colors of the Wind, and Be Our Guest. Mm-hmm. Where does the 40th rank for you in that pantheon of shows?
Let's not forget the America show on July 4th.
Oh, yeah. That too.
Which is really nothing to write home about. America. No, I kid you. So Spaceship Earth happened at sundown. It was beautiful, Mark. And I'm going to be who I am about this. So the moon was just off the right-hand side as you were looking at Spaceship Earth. And it was so well reflected that you could actually see it was like the waning quarter of the moon, but you could see the whole moon. Like you could.
How do you know it was waning? It might have been waxing. How do you know? Are you an astronomer?
I am not an astronomer.
So how do we know? How do you know it was waning?
Beautiful. It was perfectly clear out. It was beautiful. It really was like this romantic evening waiting for the show to start. And it starts off with, now let me tell you, before the show, I was listening to Pete Seeger and John Denver. So I'm a folk singer fan from the 60s and 70s. Well, it starts off with Listen to the Land, which is the old Land Pavilion song, which it was great. And then it went into If You Can Dream It, the Horizons song.
Horizons. If you can dream it, then you can do it. Yes, we can. Yeah, I like that.
It was great. And then then at one point it turned into, you could actually see in the lights, Dreamfinder's vehicle went by and they played One Little Spark, the original version of it too. And it was like, it's Dreamfinder. I know where he is. I know Figment didn't hurt him.
We should ask Figment how he feels about that.
We should. He did stuff, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk out of line, Figment. And then it went into Tomorrow's Child, and what was the other?
Better than Destiny's Child.
Yeah, and then there was one major one. It went back into the Horizon theme, and you could hear in the video like an audible gasp in the audience, like, oh, they actually played this. Really, really well done. That goes through the whole show, and then right as it's getting to the crescendo of everything, all the music stops, and you hear Walt talking about the experimental.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like,
right in the
you
feels.
want to just punch me in the chest at that point. It was like, oh. And then the big crescendo happens, and it was beautiful. Where is this rank, Mark? As a nostalgic person, as somebody who sometimes lives in the past while looking to the future, this was my favorite show they've ever done.
Wow, this was better than Rainbow Connection?
Yes, because they've updated how they do the show. So they've learned a lot over the past few shows to get to this point. Like, this was what you can do finally with the whole show. Without turning it into a giant projection screen or a LED screen itself. This was probably the best you can do. Like, there was wheels, cogs going off in the lights. Like, you saw Dreamfinder's ship, that you could see the Horizons building on it. Like, really, really well done. Okay. The Imagineering staff, whoever put that together, they knew their history. They knew their assignment, and they did it right.
They understood. So I have to tell, I'm digging the Walt Disney edition, and thank God they had that, because when the 50th came out and Enchantment was unfurled, there was no Walt Disney in the pre-show, in the show, celebrating 5 decades of Walt Disney World without a mention of the Florida Project. Walt was noticeably absent from the dream of Walt Disney.
His name is the name of the park.
But they have rectified that. They have changed that.
Did you get to see the show at all?
I did. But I want your take. It's me watching it on YouTube and you being there. It's completely and totally different. But I love that addition. The Walt Disney quote. Many people know Epcot was a passion project of Walt Disney's. Mm-hmm. So, Greg, a few episodes ago, I asked this question. I'm going to ask it again because we're sitting here and we are contemplating four decades of Epcot and what it is and how it's changed. But on the last few episodes, I asked you, I said, would Walt Disney be happy with Epcot that we have? So let's ask that question again, because they invoked the spirit of Walt in the projection show. It was a great moment, but for diehard fans, they might snicker because if you don't know this, historically speaking, let me put on my teacher hat for a second. Epcot was not supposed to be a theme park for FYI. It was originally conceived by Mr. Walt Disney during the very early development of Walt Disney World. There was always going to be an Epcot, but it was not going to be a theme park. It was going to be an experimental planned community that would serve as a center for Walt's vision of American enterprise and a new urban plan and urban living. He called it Epcot. And I love that quote. We call it Epcot, experimental prototype community of tomorrow. But the idea was meant to be a place for people to live, a futuristic society, just completely turning urban planning on its head. It included an urban city center, residential areas, industrial areas set aside and earmarked for schools, a series of mass transportation hubs and a mass transportation system that would connect the entire community in like a spoken hub. But when Disney died in 1966, the concept was obviously abandoned as the company was very appropriate that we're actually going to talk about pandemic. Sometimes Epcot has now suffered on numerous occasions these life-altering events. Epcot was supposed to be a city of tomorrow. And then what happened was, as a result of Epcot, we wound up getting a very different experience. But WED in the 70s began developing a second theme park. And then they renamed that theme park Epcot Center in 1982. We've now lost the center part of it. That is, in the history of Epcot. In 1994, they dropped the center and it just became Epcot. But today, what we have, Greg, is unrecognizable from Walt Disney's vision. So in your assessment, do you think that Walt Disney would be happy with what we have in a theme park, knowing that it wasn't supposed to be rides and attractions and beer and pretzels? Would he be happy with what we've got?
I absolutely do. I maintain that because Disney saw the future of what he wanted. I think he would have realized he was not going to get this, and I'll put it in quotes, idea of what Epcot, what he wanted it to be. What he wanted it to be was just an idea. It has progressed. It has changed. It's moved on. And I think it's a wonderful thing we have right now.
But I think if Disney hadn't died, Greg, and the company hadn't been thrown into tumult, I think he would have gotten Epcot. I'm being serious. I think he would have gotten it. Disney wasn't the kind of guy, he didn't take no for an answer. So I can't imagine WED coming to him and saying, you know, Walt, this is a horrible idea. I think we would have gotten Epcot as it was envisioned.
I think it's and I hate getting political about stuff once in a while. I think somebody would have come to him and gone, Walt, doesn't this seem a little socialist society to you? And him being a conservative and Republican at the time would have gone, let me rethink my plans and adapt and change. But because
I also think
no matter what politics play into this, he would always adapt and change to what he saw and how it would happen. You could not have what he wanted in any way, shape, or form.
That's not fair, though, man. You are painting you're using the 2022 paintbrush and the geopolitical landscape to paint.
Think it's bad now? Imagine being through the Cold War.
Okay, but you want to talk about like socialistic and society? Levittown, bro.
I lived in one.
I know. Look at all of the houses in the community planning that happened in all the Levitt towns. It was a very different time. It wasn't polarized like today. I truly think if Walt hadn't died, I think he would have gone forward with this. That when he spoke of those kind of things, people didn't look at it and think of it in terms of like communism and socialism. And they just basically thought of it as he was a futurist. Walt Disney was a futurist through and through. And in transportation and in urban planning, he wanted very much to imagine a community of the future. And I would have loved to have seen it, to be honest with you. Like, I'm happy with what we have. Like, I'm going to be total transparency. I am happy with what we have. I like the theme park.
What we have, though, is we have a theme park. What he designed was not a theme park. It was a community. It was celebration sans government getting involved in it. Like, he wanted a community. He wanted to build the town center and have the people mover, and he wanted people all to park on the outside and come into the city center and have all these companies that were going to be run out. That's not a theme park. Like, that has that. And what we have now are two vastly different things.
Well, I think
he would be happy with what we have now because that is a community he was building. Like, you could have built that out in Arizona or anywhere. It's just a community. To do it in Florida, you put the Magic Kingdom up. That was always in the cards. But then you're like, you know what I want to build now? A city.
Okay, well, here's an argument. You ready for the flip side of that coin?
Yes.
Maybe Walt really did get what he wanted because Walt Disney properties at all, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, the surrounding infrastructure, the surrounding area is Walt Disney. It's owned and operated. I know that, again, we don't want to get political. I know there's been some changes recently in the Floridian structure that Walt Disney lost that special status. But for decades, Disney kind of operated a city of its own.
You're absolutely right, and I agree with you 100%. I think that idea is very well stated. Listen, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes,
you get what you need.
You get what you need.
So here's my other argument, man, and here's what I'm going to say to you. 4 decades later, and the Epcot that we have now is vaguely reminiscent of what we had in 1982. Yeah, you have Spaceship Earth. Much of the major pavilions are still there. Mm-hmm. Not all of them are being used as they were intended to be in 1982. The only thing that's really still there that's kind of uninterrupted and unencumbered is Living with the Land. Even Journey into Imagination has had 3 iterations. The World Showcase has added to it. But again, that area would be recognizable to someone who was there in 1982. But I would argue this, like 4 decades later, Epcot is just a very different place than it was 40 years ago. Is that a good thing?
Mark, am I talking to you on an old Apple II? No.
I had to think about that for a second. I was like,
you're like,
if you can dream it, then you can do it.
I'm not using a Communicore device. Like, I literally, in my phone, have more power than the whole of Epcot did in 1982. In my hand.
It's more sophisticated than the spaceship, man. What you're holding in your hand right now.
Simple as that. Times change, advancements come. The park has advanced and changed with the times.
Fair enough. It is what it is. Get over it.
And it's great. Yeah, and it's wonderful. Like, I love it. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I get so angry at people who are like, well, it should just be the same and we should still have Ellen's energy and all this other stuff. It's like, no, we shouldn't. You know why? Because I don't use an old Apple II to do word processing on anymore. Well, like, things advance, things change. Look, and is it different?
Yes,
it is. And it's vastly different and it's wonderful. Look at Spaceship Earth. I go through there, and to me, I see love and I see nostalgia and I see what I saw as a kid when I'm going through there. The storytelling, how they tell a story is beautiful and wonderful. But if you look at the ending where they do your face, is superimposed on a character.
Yeah. Or the
Snapchat
Epcot ball
works so much better. Like all these new ideas work so much better. I can do a better Instagram picture than the picture on that. Like you have to keep changing and updating with the times, or a place like Epcot will become stagnant and lost in history.
Well, I think that's what happened to Epcot. To be fair, I think that's really what happened to Epcot. That in the early aughts, that Epcot kind of became this place that time forgot. And you looked around at the original edutainment model. A lot of the sponsorships started to fall off. Epcot kind of fell into disrepair. It became a very uncool park to do. And I think that they really recognize that. But we've talked about this on multiple shows now. Epcot is a work in progress, man. So are you disappointed selfishly? Let's be selfish for a minute.
All right. I can do that.
Are you disappointed that here we are, we're celebrating 40 years, and there are walls, and we are essentially having a birthday party in an active construction zone? Or is it okay?
To me, absolutely okay. It's a park that is always in flux. You're always looking to the future. How else are you going to get there without not destroying, but changing what was there? The new World Celebration area with the Moana Journey of Water.
It's going to be great.
The new Walt statue. I've said this many times before. If what they do for World Celebration is like they did for World Discovery, with how Guardians is tied into Space 220, tied into Mission Space, tied into Creation and Connections, and the lighting all vibes with each one. Mm-hmm. If they do the same thing for the walled off area, I am going to be blown away. Again, am I disappointed? No, because I also understand as a reasonable human being that a pandemic hit and delayed everything by years. And I it sucks that happened. And yes, we can look back on it and go, dang it, imagine what could have been. But it puts a whole lot of baggage on their backs for there has to be something amazing for the 50th anniversary.
Well, so to that end, do you think that Disney is going to continue to swing big with this park, or are we done for a while after Moana and the new hub? Because I hope that they're not done. This is my favorite park, so I'm hopeful we're not done. That it's just Moana comes in, Dreamer's Point comes in, and then we get another announcement, whether it's at Destination D23 or D23 Expo, and they say, hey, everybody, remember Mary Poppins? Remember this plan? Or remember we talked about having Coco? Well, guess what? Blue Sky, it's not going to be over beyond Big Thunder Mountain. It's going to be in the Mexico Pavilion on the back side of it.
I think they're swinging for the fences at Epcot right now. My hope is that their cash flow stays good, the economy stays up, and they can keep spending the money inside the parks like they are right now. We saw the latest D23. It looks like the Magic Kingdom is what could possibly be the next where they're going to sink all the money and spend all their energies on.
And Animal Kingdom.
And Animal Kingdom. Well, we didn't really get. Yeah, I mean, we got Blue Sky. Yeah. And Animal Kingdom, you're absolutely right.
Bro, Dinoland's Gone. Right. Separate topic. We'll delve into that another day. Dinoland is gone. I don't know if people don't know this yet. People are like, yeah, it's just a Blue Sky project. It doesn't mean it's happening. If Disney puts an entire area of the park on blast, it's gone.
Speaking of gone, Mark, do you know what's gone at Animal Kingdom?
What's gone in it? Oh,
you fell right into that.
Should we play
it's
taps?
A small show.
Should we play taps for it?
We can.
I'm not letting you hijack another show with wasting another minute of oxygen for freaking kite tails, dude. It's not happening. All right, so
moving on. Through the whole
you killed it, man. So why'd you have to kill it?
Okay. Do they waste? Not waste.
All right.
Are they going to do more things?
Yeah.
They
okay.
Are.
Specifically,
you got the Spaceship Earth is going to be refurbished.
So projects like, and let's just list it, and you can do quick yes or no, and then if you want to dive into any of them, just feel free. Play Pavilion. Does this get picked up? Okay. Mary Poppins.
No.
Spaceship Earth reimagining.
Yes.
Journey into Imagination.
Yes.
Okay, so you are pretty optimistic that a lot of stuff is going to come, save for that Mary Poppins. You think that's DOA. That's done.
I think there's something big coming, and I think it's going to really involve what is the 3 new neighborhoods: World Nature, World Celebration, World Discovery, and the World Showplace is going to be left off the table a little bit.
See, I think that's a horrible mistake.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you.
I think that is a horrible mistake, because if there is an area of the park that's ripe for expansion and intellectual property, it would be, to me, the World Showcase. Without changing the fabric and the facade of the World Showcase, putting in an IP ride on the back end of it, what does it do?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, like, what does it do if you get a Coco ride in Mexico? What does it do if you get a Snow White ride over in Germany? You can leave the facade of Germany. I mean, people complain about Frozen, and I get it. Hey, Maelstrom forever, people. I hear you. But you don't really get, like, it still very much looks like Norway. It hasn't changed the look and feel of the facade of the World Showcase. You can add intellectual property on the back end. Remy's Ratatouille. France still looks very much the same as it always has. You can do those things, add attractions, add things for people to do in the World Showcase without changing the intent of the World Showcase dramatically.
You can absolutely do that. We've talked about Japan has the space. There was supposed to be a coaster in there. Germany, they were supposed to have a ride in there. Coco can go in. But what I'm looking at, though, is the way Disney is doing and operating. World Showcase has become the land of festivals. Like, that's all it is.
It is
24/7, 365 days a year. It's festival land. And I think that's where they're going to sink the money into. Whereas in the 3 zones before that are going to be the ones that get the updates of the new rides, new attractions. Let's update this. Let's keep this moving along.
I think the aesthetic they've gone with in the former Future World is smart, is they've kind of matched that look of, it can be ambidextrous in terms of what decade it comes from in terms of design. People will complain. They're like, oh my gosh, it looks so generic. It looks like a lobby. Yes, it does look generic, because you know what? Now they don't have to touch it for another, maybe hypothetically 30 or 40 years. And you don't go back and say, man, this is really aged awfully. It looks really outdated. They've bought some time with that renovation. That Future World can look like something that spans the last 4 decades, and it's not unpleasing to the eye or to the palate. So, like, that's the aesthetic you're getting in Future World. It's just going to be duplicated and matched everywhere else. The World Showcase, man, is the area of the park that I truly believe Disney has a unique opportunity to expand and to grow the brand of Epcot. So here is the philosophical debate that every show has had. We're not unique. Should that be Disney IP, or should that be original rides? So let me go out and let me put my neck out on this, in this debate. Let me be the first to step off the cliff, if you will. Why does Disney have intellectual property if not to leverage it? They develop cartoons, they develop shows, they develop things for Disney Plus and for the movie theaters. Why? For the sake of them being showcased in their theme park. They don't need to develop anymore rides that are authentic. Like, I get, again, you were saying how people don't want to see change, but people are constantly like, we don't get any more great ideas. There's no more haunted mansions. You're talking about a period of time when Disney did not have the intellectual property catalog that it does now to be able to leverage inside of theme parks. So they had to develop rides and things for their theme parks because they didn't have all of those things. We now have decades, 100 years, Craig, of cartoons and films and shorts to now get into the theme parks for people who love that brand. It would be silly for Disney to not leverage their own intellectual property throughout the parks. So when people, I get it. When people are like, we don't get any more original attractions. I understand. there are still a few. We haven't had one since what? Everest? Was Everest truly the last original ride?
Okay, so let me just get this clear. If it comes from a movie, it is considered an IP. But if they come up with it for inside the park, it's considered an original idea.
It's a parks original.
But don't you have to come up with these original ideas for the movie to begin with?
What it is it's basically story. So here's the debate too, man. So that's a wonderful point. Does Disney waste resources, talent, and time to storytell just for the sake of a park, singular park, or do they use those resources on a massive scale for cross-platform, whether that be Disney Plus or just films? Disney is not going to put the resources and the manpower on one ride anymore. They're just not. Because that can only be experienced by one very special group of people who travel to that very specific park. Disney is going to, and I'm sorry to tell people this, but it's a bygone era. Disney's not going to do that anymore. And I get it. Like, and I don't want to say that the people who are saying this, that your feelings are invalid or that you don't bring up an amazing point. But there's generations of Imagineers that are gone. The Joe Rohdes are retiring of the world. And it's going to be sorely missed. But I think Disney has moved on from that style of storytelling into creating stuff for the masses. Is it tragic? Yes. But it's also a reality that I think people are going to have to come to grips with.
But isn't it better to make things more accessible to everybody in the world that could see this? Let's take, for example, a movie like, let's look at Stranger Things coming out soon.
Yep.
Or not Strange Worlds. Sorry, not Stranger Things. That is already out. That's a different IP. That has nothing to do with this. I digress.
Can we get the Eddie Munson experience at Disney?
You just learn how to play Master of Puppets 24/7. Strange World's coming out. That is an original movie. Like I haven't seen what that's based off of. They have to now incorporate that into mass marketing. Obviously, Disney doesn't do anything for free.
They don't.
But they also, why couldn't they come out with a ride in Disney World or across the, but you have to make it accessible to everybody. I will never be able to afford going to Tokyo right now.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens in the future? But I should be able to go, okay, that ride is cool there, but I have kind of the same attraction here with the same characters, so I'm okay with it. I can't get over there, but I still have my own version of things.
But if you're Disney, and now here's a really fascinating point in this debate, and I'm loving this debate on the 4 decades of Epcot. What is a more cost-effective way of testing a concept or a ride out? Would it be to invest in infrastructure and to build something, put out a ride, and then have it be wholly rejected and people are like, yo, that's cheesy, I don't like it? Or do they test the concept in, say, a movie theater and build a following? And if there is a very strong following, I'm looking at you, Encanto, then they say, you know what we can put into our park that people are going to absolutely go crazy for and love? This movie that people went to the theaters in droves is a proven intellectual property. We're bringing that to the park. They're not going to put in money and resources and time on an original idea and stamp it in concrete and steel only to have it fail. They're going to test something out conceptually in a digital realm, and they're going to try it on paper, and they're going to draw it in pencil before they ink it.
Right. And I'm going to lump a whole lot of people in together, so I apologize right now. But the same people who are like, no, you have to have original ideas would lose their minds if there was a South America Pavilion built in World Showcase and an Encanto ride right behind it. Like, I don't understand the disconnect. They would lose their minds if that was announced for the park.
Meanwhile, they would all be in a 6-hour line to vlog it on the first day. We'd be right there with them, but hey.
Well, that one hurts. That hurts. Sorry. Oh, that
just saying.
Anyway. So look,
Epcot is not going to be a home for original storytelling. It's just not. I mean,
it's a new day and age.
It's a new day and age. And there are some places that would be wonderful for original stories. Like that Mount Fuji roller coaster would be amazing. And I know that it's been mothballed and that it's never going to come. But look at the reception of just a singular roller coaster in Epcot. Everyone loves Cosmic Rewind, unless they get sick from it. And then they don't, they still love it, but they just don't want to do it.
Which, according to vloggers, is everyone,
yes,
but no one.
Everyone. But if you had an area of Epcot that would be right for a
I've been waiting for this question.
For this kind of ride, like where would you go? Like, what are we missing in Epcot, man?
Mark,
what could we do more of in the next 40 years that we are sorely missing right now?
I have one little spark of imagination. This is my pie in the sky, beyond Big Thunder Mountain, behind Spaceship Earth idea for you. Are you ready for this? Here is what is missing at Epcot. You have World Showcase, and then you have a big area in between separated that has like the Odyssey building, the bridges going across. Mm-hmm. And then
isn't that a sinkhole?
You have, I don't know, but it's so gross. Like, ew, it's just so gross. And then you have World Celebration coming across the bridge.
I thought that was a sinkhole, bro. Odyssey.
My idea is to fill in the sinkhole first. Let's take care of that. What you need is world harmony. You need a spot that harmonizes these two lands together, because right now they are two distinctly different parks. World Celebration and the three new neighborhoods, or what we know as Future World, are vastly different. They don't work together. I am suggesting a world harmony bridge that incorporates that whole area, including sinkhole. Maybe we'll make the sinkhole the ride. Who knows?
Journey. We could call it Journey to the Center of the Earth if they're not careful.
We could. But I think what you need to do is, okay, so at the end of that bridge is now going to be an open field where they're going to have like a small stage for concerts and a picnic area and Walt's statue. So the idea is to have all bridges and all roads lead to Walt. It's a one man's dream bridge, and it's world harmony. This is where you take all the festivals and have all the festivals. You set up booths along all the bridges. You widen them out, and you set that up, and it makes an in-between zone between, and you try and incorporate bridges to people, bridges to technology, bridges to each other. Like, you just try and bring all this stuff together and make these parks work together better. And I think that's what's missing.
And you know what I think is missing from your idea?
The song from Coke?
No, and I was just going to say, I was just going to say, we need a corporate sponsor, and I think it should be Coke.
Perfect harmony.
Yeah, I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. Dude, that's what you need. You're missing a Coca-Cola corporate sponsorship for your area of the park.
Bam! We have solved this, Mark, together, you and I. Mark, well, I want to hear your idea, because look, I hate hippies, but sometimes I'm a hippie about stuff.
So I think they're clued into what Epcot needs right now. If I'm being completely honest, and this isn't me, waxing poetic about the upper brass, I think that the people that are in charge right now of parks, I think Josh D'Amaro, I think that team, they understand what Epcot needs, and I think they're tapped into it, and I think they're moving in that direction, man. I think Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Guardians of the Galaxy was a really good start, that they realize that they have a showcase for the intellectual properties, because Epcot was, again, it was a clean slate. It was a blank slate. Edutainment, all of those pavilions that had edutainment, they're gone. The corporate sponsorships are gone. 1982 is gone. Epcot, it's not going to be about edutainment anymore. Epcot is going to start to look more like California Adventure.
Say edutainment anymore.
It's going to start to look more like California Adventure than it does Epcot. So I would say it's Westcott, Greg, is what we've got coming. Because I think you're going to get Disney's California Adventure in some form or fashion over there, that you're going to get a lot of Pixar. You're going to get a lot of intellectual.
Jointed and looks horrible, so might as well just continue with it.
That's very wrong of you to say. How dare you? That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
Hey, where's the icon? Oh, in the back of the park? Yeah, let's go with it.
Well, they don't have that problem because our park icon is right up front.
We need a wharf.
It's a geodesic sphere, by the way. It's not a ball. It's not a ball. So where does Epcot, I need to know, rank for you, bro?
In all reality, as much as I'm trashing Epcot, you're not trashing. And I'm not. I love Epcot. I'm trashing what happened for the 40th.
Okay,
Epcot
hit the pause button on that. Hold on, pause. We said this on N Company. We joked and said it's going to be merch and food. We called it.
Not so much food.
Merch.
Okay,
I'm sorry. But
that's okay. Anyway,
back to your
I always say for my nostalgia, Magic Kingdom is my favorite park. But my favorite park as an adult and for the past 15 years has been Epcot. That's the park I will drop everything and go run and go to immediately. You guys want to meet? Let's go to Epcot. Mm-hmm. You want to have a drink? Let's go to Epcot. You want to go ride Guardians real quick? Let's go to Epcot. I can hang out with my daughter every single Sunday morning, go ride Guardians of the Galaxy. Where, Mark? At Epcot. So to me, it is, as an adult, my favorite park to be in on a daily basis. Is it my favorite park in the world? It's tied with Magic Kingdom. So yeah, it's that important to me. I love Epcot. I see so much in Epcot that I love. Where for you though? Where does Epcot rank for you?
So Epcot's always been my number one. It got a little bit of an asterisk as we called it the money pit, that it looked like people were testing missiles there for the last few years. So it was hard for me to say that it was my number one park looking as rough as it did. But some of my best memories come from Epcot. I love that Epcot is a social park, and you just hit the nail right on the head. It has rides, it has food, it has drinks. You don't feel guilty on pulling on the side of Epcot and having a conversation or taking an hour away from the agenda. It's not like Magic Kingdom where you sort of feel the need to go from ride to ride. It also, in my opinion, redefines what a theme park is. Magic Kingdom is very much a classic theme park to me. But Epcot it's a hybrid, that it is a show place, it's a meeting place, it has entertainment. I love the live music. I love the fact that people can just go there and eat and drink and not even have to get on a ride and have an amazing time. I love the festivals. I love the concert series. And dare I say, I do love that there are still some flashes of 1982. I like that if I want to get that vintage feel, I just go to the Land Pavilion. I ride Living with the Land. I can always commune with Figment and hang out over the Imagination Pavilion. Although I will tell you, I don't think that's going to continue to happen much longer. I think eventually they're going to do something. Either Figment's going to get a new experience but I just can't I know he's wildly popular, but I just can't.
I'm starting to get offended for Figment with how much hatred you're bringing to my purple dragon friend.
I love Figment. I'm a Figment stan, but that ride needs a little TLC. It does. Come on. It needs some TLC. But Epcot's my favorite park. What's your favorite memory while we're on the topic?
Right. And it just works so well going from what's your favorite part. I have memories. And these are I'm going to give you three vastly distinct different memories, and they all have to do with something about Epcot everywhere. My favorite concert was seeing Everclear in Epcot. My real favorite concert. Okay. Wow. So when I was younger, working with the Young Rascals, we would play Flower Power from 1999 until 2005. Every May, we would play Flower Power Festival at the American Showplace, and Disney treated us like kings. And it was amazing. I was like, I am literally getting paid to be inside Disney right now. It was beautiful. I loved it. My second favorite, because I'm going to lead up to my favorite, which is a family thing. I got to see the opening of Space 220. I literally, Mark, sat next to 3 astronauts Like to me, growing up and seeing the space race and the space age and seeing the shuttles blast off and just knowing all about NASA and the Space Coast, standing next to 3 astronauts in the middle of Disney was surreal. But I also got to walk into Epcot when nobody else was in there. The park was dead empty. Workers weren't in there yet. Like nobody. I got pictures of the Epcot ball with nobody around it. I got to sit and talk to Zach Ridley, and I watched Mickey and Minnie come out and fireworks go off and rockets shoot. It was wonderful. But my favorite memory, Mark, truly it's a family thing. The first time I took Rory and Holly into Epcot was a magical moment to me. And we joke about this. It's a family inside joke that we've had for a long time. But I need them and everybody else in the world to realize that this memory is my core memory of Disney. And this is why I truly love this place. We're walking into World Showcase, and over at World Showplace, which is the convention building over by in between Canada and Great Britain, there's a giant convention area. Characters happened to be out that day, and apparently Tigger was out. And I've told this story a few times. My first reaction was, oh, it's Tigger. I did not realize my second reaction would be to push my 15-year-old at the time daughter out of the way for Dad to go running up and hug and love on Tigger, and Tigger to be bouncing and hugging me and jumping up and down. And my poor daughter's just sitting in the back going, did you just push me for Tigger? And I was like, no,
I did.
I did not. What are you talking about? And Holly's literally like, dude, you just pushed your 15-year-old daughter out of the way to meet Tigger. I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, yes, you did. I was like, no, I didn't. So Epcot, and it sounds so silly, but it's not silly. Like, it's a joke we have in the family. It's just Epcot is something special. I remember being there. Like, that's again, I remember going there, and like, that's one of the good moments I have with my father. I don't have many, but one I do have is Magic Kingdom. The other one is Epcot, and it's playing on the computers. I remember the dancing fountains from being a child. Yeah. I remember playing when the fountains that go over and getting soaking wet and watching my father dance through them and having a good time. It's that one time I remember my father giggling like a kid and then realizing like, oh, he's a big kid like we are.
Yeah. So
I have all these generational memories wrapped up into Epcot, and that is what the dream of Epcot is. So yeah, I have the past, but I have the future. And I literally just went on and hung out at Epcot with my grandkids, Mark. My grandkids. Like, I'm only 47 years old, and I got to walk the park with my grandkids. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the future.
Yeah, it's just making memories, man. I love, well, my favorite thing too is just, it's family and reconnecting. We have a picture of Bella, and she's little and she's on my shoulders. This is back when I could put her on my shoulders. And it's just the two of us in front of Spaceship Earth. Linda obviously took the photo. But, you know, the Chinese proverb of a picture is worth 1,000 words. And that photo to me is everything that constitutes my love of Disney. It's something that we didn't go there often as kids, but when we did, we had really great family memories and family moments. Epcot comes in flashes to me. The leapfrog fountains, the rainbow tunnel, walking around the World Showcase with my parents, doing the passport book, being just completely enraptured with the concept of, I remember as a little kid going 15 and 20 feet and being in a new country and how cool that felt. But there were always such great memories around Epcot, and my mom loved Epcot. My father loved Epcot. It was just really good family memories together that I think back on them and they're really positive experiences. And then to have that same kind of thing with my daughter, and that, like, she's being raised Disney, my kid. I mean, this is going to become her personality too. She likes Disney, thankfully.
Thank gosh.
Thank God she likes Disney. But Epcot is that place that we try to end every trip at either Magic Kingdom or at Epcot. Again, I'm sorry. I know that some people love Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom, but those aren't trip finishers to me. I always want my last visions or visages of the parks to be either Spaceship Earth or Cinderella's Castle, which is a close second. There's something emotional about, and I think it's because it's just so big and you can walk underneath it and having that music playing. There's just something so special about that being the last images and memories before you take that next trip. But Epcot, because it's so personal, because there's a lot of stories that are shared over food there, it is a very intimate park to me that I think back and like some of my favorite memories are with friends and family just sitting around tables or trash cans, eating and talking about our lives and our families and our fears and our emotions. There's something that's so wonderful. So to circle back, because that's what we do, would Walt Disney be happy with Epcot? Walt wanted to build a community of tomorrow. And again, I will die on this hill. I think that Walt did. Maybe it wasn't the exact blueprint that Walt had envisioned, but Epcot is a pretty fascinating community and it's a pretty incredible meeting spot. After 4 decades, it continues to evolve, man. And I'm excited for the next 4 decades of Epcot. I know you are too.
Highly excited. I do want to mention one story. I like just the first time hanging out with you guys. We all went as a group and got to meet. Like we met at Hollywood Studios. It was just a few of us. We got to meet over at Magic Kingdom. It was just a few of us.
This was my birthday.
But then the Epcot day happened and it was all of us. So we all got together and we watched Harmonious, which is what that show is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring us together. And that's what Epcot is. I agree 100% with what you just said. Would Walt be happy and would Walt accept the park as it is today? Yes, because you and I are living proof and have these stories about family and friends and meeting and being in one place all together and wanting to do this over and over again. So I think you nailed it perfectly. Long live Epcot.
That, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we end the episode. And that's going to do it for another episode of Diz Life Podcast. Be sure to tune in for more amazing podcasts, 4 of them to be precise, later this week on the Chip and Company Podcast Network. As always, we want to thank you, Greg, and I want to thank you for living your best Disney life with us here every single Monday. And we hope the rest of the week is filled with faith, trust, and pixie dust. Bye, everybody. Diz Life Podcast is brought to you by the Happiness is Addictive collection. Happiness is Addictive is passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. They love bringing their global community together through optimism, cheer, hopefulness, merriment, and celebrating life's magical moments. They know how important it is to celebrate life's adventures, and their apparel will give you everlasting, one-of-a-kind memories through pixie-dusted family photos, compliments from park guests, and magical moments with cast members. They pride themselves on high-quality, custom-made apparel at competitive prices with world-class service. Let them help you create a lifetime of memories, whether you're Disney bounding, kicking it poolside, participating in Run Disney marathons, having costumed adventures, or just living your best Disney life. You can find their Happiness is Addictive shop on Etsy. You can also find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest. They are proud to be featured in Indy Central Florida, the Thoughtful Gift Club, and now here on Diz Life Podcast. Their collection was founded by a 15-year former cast member who knows how to enhance your magical moments for a lifetime of memories with your family. Don't forget to use promo code DizLife15 to take an extra 15% off. What are you waiting for? Head over to Etsy and start getting happy today. Follow the link in our show notes and you'll find out for yourself that happiness is addictive.